Inspiring interviews, Singapore stories with me, Jason Dasey, on MoneyFM89.3. We have a very special guest today. It's Eileen Chai, who is the renowned violin player and performer, teacher, and of course she was Singapore's youngest ever SEA Games competitor at the age of 7 back in 1985 when she was a gymnast, and then she would become a diver. She'd also go to track and field, and it's great to have you on my show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, good morning. And I know you've been in the news lately because BBC did an interview with you recently about the breaking point of a child gymnast. And we'll talk about that a bit later. But I know the exciting thing that you're really talking about at the moment is your 2020 plans, a music collaboration with a cause with 10 musicians, maybe raising awareness about mental health issues.
Yes, that's right. Why this project is going to be called 3 a.m. Why it's called 3 a.m. is because A means acceptance of knowing that you have a condition, acknowledging that there is a solution to everything, including that, as well as taking action to make it good. So this 3 a.m. project will be a musical one, whereby there will be a collaboration with 10 musicians, including musicians and music arrangers, composers, lyricists. And it will be launched in year 2020.
How wonderful, how wonderful. So at the moment you're looking at sourcing those other 10 performers, and you're open obviously to having regional interaction as well beyond Singapore.
Yes, that's right. So well, more or less I have the 10 musicians on board. Of course, along the way things might change, maybe a few more included. How regional it will get, it really depends on how it will turn out. But the idea is to actually create the mental health awareness through music.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's a great healing tool, isn't it? Music and mental health.
Yes, I guess to make it short and sweet, why this project even happened, because I myself went through a little bit of mental health issues, but I'm totally fine now. But I also believe that in order to recover from it, you have to actually go through it. It's a journey that one has to go through. So, and I feel that music was the best way to actually do it.
And speaking of journeys, your life journey, I mean, I've always heard of your name, and I knew that you were involved with violin and all that, but I just kind of found out your backstory in recent weeks, and your awareness about you was raised by the Outlook program on BBC about the breaking point of a child gymnast. From 4 years old, you were training to be a champion gymnast, and at the age of 7, you were sent to China to train. And I have a daughter just a bit older than that age, so I couldn't imagine sending my daughter to go by herself to train in China. And then at the age of 7, you were in the SEA Games in Thailand at the time, and you won a bronze medal at that time. But this was incredible, wasn't it, your journey that you've been on?
Definitely incredible in the sense that it's a little bit different from your normal school-going kids. I can safely say that because now I'm a violin teacher, so the number of students that I see coming through me is quite a number. So I can see the difference every time when I see a 7-year-old in front of me. Why was I doing gymnastics at that point in time?
Well, you did it even earlier, but you went to China. And as was highlighted, in the BBC documentary, you were spending long times by yourself. You weren't speaking much. You really didn't communicate with other people. I mean, I'm intrigued about what China was like then, being a young kid and being sent there to train. But you were driven within yourself, weren't you?
Yes, it was totally internally driven. Of course, somebody needed to kickstart, and my parents, especially my mom, who I love a lot, they brought me to the gymnastics school. They had to bring me there because at that point in time I was like a monkey. I was like climbing on the table, climbing up the lamppost, and my mom would be like, is she going to fall? If she falls, am I going to catch her? I think she needs to know how to land safely. That's why she brought me to learn gymnastics. So that was how it started. And I'm quite lucky in the sense that whatever things that I learned, I love it. I mean, at a point in time, I was also doing ballet, I was doing violin too, piano, arts. I think that's about it. So then, and I love it. So when I started to train more seriously for gymnastics, it didn't take much to actually excite me to go for my training. And I was training twice a day during that time. I mean, including Sundays. Sundays I would be watching TV and doing my conditioning exercise, doing V-sets, like 10 sets of hundreds. But to me it was fun because I get to watch my TV.
We're speaking to Eileen Chai, who's that renowned violin teacher and performer, about her journey through life. Firstly, as an elite athlete, and from being a gymnast, you went to diving and track and field. You held a record for 100 meters hurdles that stood for a long time. Each step, tell me about each step. How did you decide where to go next?
From gymnastics, I left gymnastics when I was 13 years old. To move on to another sport was actually not that difficult at a point in time because I was already involved in track and field even when I was in primary school. So I was actually competing in both sports when I was in primary school. I guess for gymnastics, you already had the basic strength, flexibility to actually move on to another sport. So when I got into secondary school, it was a natural thing for me to just pick up track and field again. And when I was in secondary 3, about 15 years old, I broke the national age group record. Then, following that, somehow I went downhill. I couldn't improve anymore. So one day, there was this sports official from the Singapore National Olympic Council. He actually came up to me and said, "Hey, why don't you try a new sport, diving? Diving actually needs new athletes." So I thought, why not give it a try? So I gave it a try and I actually loved it. So then along the way, I actually realized I need more proper training with good facilities. Well, at that point in time, nobody's fault. I mean, who knows that for this particular sport needs this kind of facility. So knowing that China has such good equipment with very experienced Olympic coaches, my parents and myself, we actually made up our minds and we will go to China to train. So I was there in China to train for 1 year in diving.
So you went back to China where you were as a very young kid.
Yes, went back there again.
A lot different experience, I guess.
Not really. Still lonely. I guess because once I was in China when I was growing up.
Do you have good Mandarin, by the way?
Back then, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I was really very good in Mandarin to a point whereby I was actually a cub reporter with the 联合早报, the Chinese newspaper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, that was then. Anyway, so I was there for 1 year, but due to injuries, I couldn't actually compete properly at the final SEA Games that was held in Chiang Mai, Thailand. So I didn't do well. Oh well. Then of course there were other series of mishaps and all that. So that really got me to stop sports at that point in time. I was about 16, 17.
It was very dramatic, wasn't it? Because in a way, I would say this, and you're probably the first person to agree with this, you didn't achieve as much as you could have, perhaps in competitions, as where your talent was, So you had to brush aside these disappointments. And but that moment when you discovered music, to me, for Eileen Chai, who's our guest here on Weekend Mornings, violin teacher and performer, that was just a turning point for you. Can you tell me what happened when you walked past a room and you heard music?
Yes, so when I got in, so I left diving at about 16, 17 years old. Then I went to junior college. Then I went to university. So at the university, I was at the National University of Singapore at that point in time studying microbiology, life science.
Yeah.
I'm so outdated now. So I then happened to pass by the Centre for the Arts. And at the Centre for the Arts, I heard music. I was like, whoa, music. I played that before. So I actually opened the door and looked through and I saw so many people. There was so many people. Everybody was talking, having fun, and the conductor was so wonderful. He's like smiling. People made mistakes because they were having rehearsals and not real performances. So I made mistakes. Fine, just go on. And then you can actually see that a lot of good people playing music together, having fun. I was looking for that.
And you were at a low point at that stage.
Pretty low because it's like I've been doing sports every day. 24 hours. Sports was on my mind for 24 hours every day. So it's like, what can you fill up with if you don't have sports anymore? So music came to the picture. I approached the conductor and said, yeah, I want to learn the violin. Picked it up again and I want to be part of your orchestra. So I told him, with with the same determination that I had for sports, and I told him, okay, I'm going to achieve my grade ABRSM. ABRSM means Associated Board Royal School of Music certification for level 8. And I said I want to do it within a year so that I can play with the orchestra. So I guess it's sometimes it's really about teacher and student, whether they complement one another, and both of us really complement one another. The conductor was Mr. Lim Soon Lee, NUS Symphony Orchestra conductor, and we hit it off very well. Yeah, and managed to get into the orchestra. And we started playing overseas as well. And we even played at the Sydney Opera House.
Oh, wow, it's my hometown.
Yeah, so that's wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, my daughter, as I mentioned, was a bit older than you were when you started your, journey in gymnastics, going to China. And I really encouraging her to do music. But what are the healing qualities of music that you've seen with students, and some of the transformation that you see amongst the people that work with you?
Music, it's really lovely in the sense that it really touches the heart, even for kids. I mean, look at the kids' songs that they are listening to nowadays. Baby Shark, Baby Shark, Baby Shark. Oh, it's so fun. Yeah. And I mean, then my students would tell me about it. Baby Shark, Baby Shark. They love it, and that in itself, because for young kids, they won't be able to understand classical unless they are prodigies. But for majority of the kids, these little kids' songs, or London Bridge is falling down, poof. Yeah, so that really captures their attention, and it's through these music that actually created fun for them. Right, and you can't possibly be asking them to play Paganini already. I mean, Paganini has written a number of very good pieces of music, but the young kids won't be able to do it. So you start off with all these, and so that they get that imagination is captured, you create that curiosity, and that motivates them. But I must say, it's not easy. It's not as easy as a teacher to actually capture that motivation and imagination. It really takes a team effort together with the parents, how the environment is at home and all that. So it's not just the teacher, not just me. The environment must be there, just like Joseph Schooling. It takes a whole village to actually create a champion. So it's the same for music. Even if it's to win a medal or to create an imagination village, to motivate them, it takes the whole team. Yeah.
Music's so powerful. When I'm driving around in my car with my daughter, and we've got quite an old car, and she's hearing old songs, and she says, "Daddy, can we get a newer car so I can hear newer songs?"
You need to earn more big bucks.
I don't think she understands that it's the oldie station that I'm listening to. That's the problem.
One car for each station, yes.
Now, coming up on the 21st of December, you've got something special with President Halimah Yacob, I believe. Is that right?
Yes,
Singapore Kindness Movement. Tell me about that.
Yes, so back 4 years ago, I invited Dr. William Wan, who is the SecGen of Singapore Kindness Movement, to be the guest of honor for the book launch that I wrote, which was Teach a Life for Life, sharing life lessons learned through music. Yep. So we've been keeping in contact together with Singapore Kindness Movement, SKM in short, collaborating with them for various performances, including my students who are, whenever they perform for Singapore Kindness Movement, they are called Strings for Kindness, sharing kindness through music. So this year is a bit special because they are celebrating the 21st SKM anniversary, and they have invited the president to be the guest of honor. And so happened that, so lucky, my husband, Ben Cranen, he just got his PR as well this year. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Finally, we've been waiting. Yeah. So, but thank you so much, government. So, and he was also invited to actually write a song for SKM to celebrate this 21st anniversary. And this song is called Greater Every Day. So we will be performing, everybody will be singing together as well on the 21st December for the 21st SKM anniversary together with the president.
How exciting.
Yeah,
How
it
exciting.
is. I mean, my husband, he's a flavorist, but he writes he has a serious hobby, which is to write songs and create. Now, he's more of a singer-songwriter and music arranger.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you are going to perform for us in a moment. I'll let you get set up for that, and just to remind everybody that you can get in touch with Eileen via eileenchai.studio. That's www.eileenchai.studio, and follow her. Don't forget her plans for 2020, the music collaboration with the cause, raising awareness about mental health issues with 10 musicians, and she's looking for funding for that, so you can reach out to her on that. So I think we've got the thumbs up from Eileen. She is going to perform for us now here on Weekend Mornings, so with a bit of a festive flavour. Wonderful. Eileen Chai live here on Money FM. Eileen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for Money FM 89.3 for weekend mornings. Yes.
Yes, indeed. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show, and all the best with everything coming up over the Christmas period and into 2019.
Hey, thank you so much.
All right.
Very nice. Thank you.
You're
so
very good. I mean, of course, obviously.
No,
So amazing.
That's a great story you have, Eileen.
Thank you.